Okay, we are live. It is 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and this is my IELTS Tutor here on YouTube. Welcome to this live session. I am your host, Martin Victor, and excuse me, I am an IDP certified IELTS trainer. I'm also teach spoken English, TOEFL, and interview preparation. I've been doing this for over 8 years, and I've literally helped hundreds of students achieve their goals with IELTS and all the other areas that I teach. We have one person joining us. Do say hello. If you join us, say hello. I want to know who's joining us. Today we're going to talk about coherence and cohesion. I'm going to give you 8-band tips to achieve good coherence and good cohesion. And at the end, I will have a brief 5-minute question and answer period. So if you're joining us, please say hello. I'd like to know who you are. Maybe I've seen you before here in a live session. It would be nice to see you again. We have some more people, so you people joining us, do say hello. It's certainly wonderful that you join me here because I'm here for you guys. I'm not here for myself. I'm here for you guys. You know, because my goal here is to help you, everyone, as many people as I can, achieve high band scores on IELTS. And so that's the purpose of why I'm here. And so I've teamed up with my IELTS Tutor, the premium online tutor service, IELTS Tutor service, and together our goal is to help as many people score 8 bands or higher on the IELTS test. So do say hello. We'll get started in about a minute. We're still waiting for more people to come, but it's certainly a pleasure to have you guys. And this is something I also, you know, I do this for myself because I enjoy teaching. Teaching is something I really enjoy doing. So, okay, so if you've joined us, do say hello. There's 4 people on right now, so say hello, guys. Don't be shy. And then if you have questions, there will be a 5-minute question and answer period at the end. But I do ask that you keep the topic, stick to the topic about, and the topic here would be IELTS essay. Okay, so now I have spent about the last 3 months talking about the IELTS essay. And this is probably going to be the last live session I'm going to do for the IELTS essay. But if you haven't seen all the videos I've done, certainly watch those. Hello, Sophia, nice to see you. So if you haven't seen those videos, go back and watch them, because first of all, I talk about how to plan the essay, how to understand the essay prompt, how to write each part of the essay, from the introduction, the body paragraphs, and the conclusion. I also talk about how to plan and write each individual essay type. And then last week I talked about grammar. The week before I talked about things that you shouldn't say in terms of vocabulary. So if you haven't watched those videos, do watch those. So, so we have more people. Do say hello. Those who are joining us, we're going to start in very shortly. Sophia has said hello. How about the other people who have joined? Do say hello. Don't be shy. Okay. So why don't we begin? So coherence and cohesion. It's an important aspect of writing, and it's an important aspect that you need to pay attention to. And so I'm going to give you 8-band tips to help you achieve good coherence, good cohesion. So let's get started. Now, what's the importance of coherence and cohesion? That's an important thing that you should understand. And so, first of all, it's one of the scoring criteria for IELTS writing. And it basically represents 25% of your overall band score. The other three are task achievement, grammar, and lexical resources, which is basically vocabulary. I pretty much covered all of those in previous videos. Hello, 𝐂𝐿𝐴. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Nice to have you, 𝐂𝐿𝐴. So again, coherence and cohesion, it's 25% of your band score. But you may not know what these terms mean. So let's take a look at them. So coherence, it's all about the structure and construction of your essay, okay? So basically it's the framework of your essay. And I'll go into that in a bit of detail, in more detail. Now, cohesion, well, for example, I get ahead of myself, sorry about that. So coherence, again, this, I said this is about the structure of your essay, the framework of your essay. So this is about your sentences and your paragraphs, okay? Now, cohesion talks about how your ideas are held together, how they're linked together, okay? And so one thing you can think of in terms of an essay is think of a well-knitted sweater. This is especially important when we understand cohesion, okay? The well-knitted sweater is going to be tight, all the knots, stitches are going to be fairly tight, tight. They're not going to come unraveled, okay? But now, if you have one or two stitches that are not well done, that are loose, it may not unravel, meaning pull apart the sweater. But if you have a lot of them or several key stitches that are not tight, your sweater is going to fall apart, and that's kind of what happens with your essay. Your essay will fall apart, and the reader cannot understand what you're trying to say in the essay. Will not understand what you're writing. Hello, Shravan, nice to see you. Thank you for joining. So that's how you can look at an essay. It's like a well-knitted sweater. If it's not put together well, it's going to fall apart and the reader will not be able to understand. It's not going to make sense. So now let's take a closer look at coherence. And we're looking at this according to the band scores, okay? So for coherence, for band 8, okay, this has to do with your paragraphs, okay? You have sufficient number of paragraphs and they're appropriate. This means that you have enough paragraphs for the task and they're well written, okay? Now let's look at band 7. Band 7, your paragraphs are clear. You can understand what's being said, for the most part. You can understand what's being said. And there is a clear topic in each paragraph. Now, band 8, there will be a clear topic in each paragraph, and it's well written. So you might have a little bit of confusion in the paragraph, and you have a clear topic, that would be band 7. But if it's well written and you have a clear topic and you have enough paragraphs for the task, that's going to be band 8. Now, band 6, you do use paragraphs, but they're not always logical. For instance, you may go off topic in the middle of a paragraph. So you go on a tangent. You talk about something else. It may be related, but it's not directly related. So, it may not always be logical. Band 5, the paragraphing may be inadequate. So you may not have enough paragraphs you may only have, say, like one body paragraph, or you have one body paragraph to cover all your points. You don't have any paragraphs, or the paragraphs don't have a clear topic. So that's important. Now, what does it, another aspect of this is progression. Progression refers to the essay being logical and organized as well. So band 8, this means that your essay sequences the ideas logically. So there's a logical order in your essay. So in band 7, you have progression logic going through the whole of the essay, okay? It goes, the progression and logic goes through the whole essay. And then band 6, your essay generally makes sense and it progresses overall. So it doesn't make full progression. So for instance, some of your explanations may not be fully extended, for example. In band 5, you have some organization. Perhaps you have your introduction, a couple body paragraphs, and some and your conclusion, but there's no progression of ideas. So your ideas don't lead to a natural conclusion. So let's take an even closer look. What does all this mean boiled down? So for 8 bands for coherence, you need to make sure that you have enough paragraphs for the essay. So I recommend 4 to 5. You should have 4 to 5 paragraphs. 2, of course, will be your introduction, your conclusion. So this means 2 to 3 body paragraphs, and this depends on the essay type. Then your paragraphs have a logical order. So you start with your introduction, you start with the body paragraphs in a logical order. For instance, if you have points that you want to discuss, say the task is to agree or disagree, you're going to have your strongest point first, followed all the way down to your least strongest. Each point will have its own body paragraph. So that's what I mean by logical paragraphs have logical order. And then, of course, each paragraph is going to have one main topic, one main point, one main idea. So if you're talking about advantages and disadvantages, so one paragraph is going to be about the advantages of something. The other paragraph is going to be about the disadvantages of something, okay? So they give you an idea. Now, the ideas, again, are organized in a logical order. So now for ideas on that, in terms of how to organize your essay, I would go back and watch the videos I have on each individual essay type, because I tell you exactly how to organize your body paragraphs, okay? And that would be really helpful for you guys. Now, next thing is your essay moves logically from idea to a, so that's what I mean progression. And it shows the link between the ideas as well. And then your ideas lead to a very definite conclusion. So if you agree on some points, on the topic, your ideas lead to why you agree about the topic, for example. And so this is achieved through, again, paragraph and arrangement. This is talking about your entire essay. The paragraph organization, and this is the structure of your paragraph and how to structure your paragraphs. Again, watch the videos I've done here on YouTube about how to write your introduction, how to write the body paragraphs, and how to write the conclusion. I tell you exactly how to structure them, almost sentence per sentence by sentence. So go watch those. And then another thing is your ideas make sense, and how they make sense is being relevant to the topic, to being directly related to the topic. That's the key in how they make sense. And then you follow the flow of logic until you reach a conclusion. Okay, that's the final thing. All right, so we have some more people joining. Do say hello, those who've joined us just recently. Also, so you guys know, for those, especially those who just joined us, there will be a question and answer period at the end. If you have questions, feel free to ask. I will answer them at the end, but I ask that you keep them to the topic about the essay. And hello, Arumoy, thanks for joining. And you're very welcome. You're very welcome. So let's continue. Okay. Now let's talk about cohesion. Okay. This is our next thing we need to consider. So now the 8 bands so the band descriptors for this, band 8, you manage all aspects of cohesion well. And I'm going to explain that more fully. Band 7, you use a range of linking devices appropriately. And I want to talk about what linking devices are, okay? So you guys are going to get a crash course in linking devices. Band 6 uses the linking devices, but basically mechanically. For instance, they might use a linker at the start of each sentence. And that's not right. You don't need to do that. So now band 6, there's several things. You either overuse cohesive devices, there are frequent errors using them, for instance, using the wrong ones, or you're not using enough, or all of the above. Okay, so that would be band 5. Okay, if you're not using any linkers at all, you're probably going to get band 4 in coherence and cohesion. So band 5, you're using them, but there's problems with it. Okay, now what does cohesion mean? Cohesion means to use the following: enough linking devices. Again, I will talk about those. You avoid repetition, and this is repetition of ideas, and basically key nouns. Okay, and then you're using the linking devices correctly. And I do have examples of how inappropriate use of linking devices and correct use of linking devices. So now, what are linking devices? This is important. Okay. Now, first of all, what is their purpose? This is important to understand what their purpose is. So the first purpose is to tell the reader what's going on in each part of the essay. Okay, that's the first thing. The next thing is they're used to extend your main points. Okay, so you use them to extend an explanation or a description, or to give an example. And then finally, we use these to reduce repetition. Okay, and so these are the types of linking devices we use. We use signal words and phrases. And I want one moment, please. Who was that? Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So signal words and phrases, those are a type of signal linking device. I do have some examples, but there's another video I did on speaking where I talk about these. And I really encourage you guys to watch that video. It's here on YouTube, and it will apply to writing just as much as it will apply to speaking. So it's about signal words and phrases. All right, the next ones we want to use are synonyms. So we don't want to keep using the same word over and over again. We want to use synonyms to break it up. So that's the thing. So we use synonyms. Next, we use personal pronouns. And I'll give you examples of those. I'll give you examples of all of these. And then demonstrative pronouns as well. Okay, these are the types of linking devices that we use in our writing. Now, let's move on. Oh, key points here. Key points for linking devices is you don't want to overuse them. Of course, you don't want to underuse them either. Best thing is to kind of have an idea of when to use them, when they're needed. And you do this when practice, and also studying other essays, studying other writers and how they use the linking devices. Okay, so now let's move on. So indicating what is being done, okay? So what do we use for these? We use signal words and phrases. And so there's several purposes for indicating what's being done in the essay. So for instance, we may be sequencing. So we'll use these to begin. We usually, you might start with, we might use this type of sequencing in our body paragraphs. So our first body paragraphs, we might say firstly or to begin. Second body paragraph will say maybe this next reason is, and so on and so forth, like that. As a sequence through our body paragraphs. When we're comparing different things. So for instance, if we're talking about two viewpoints, we can compare them. So when we're making a comparison between them or and such. So we can use these phrases. And then similar when we're talking about the differences between two different things, which is contrasting, we can use these other signal words and phrases. Now, these are just some of the more common. These are not a complete list. You can watch the video I did, but you can also research this on the internet as well. And I encourage you guys to do that. Another thing is highlighting. When we want to stress important information, such as this is important, it's important, this is crucial, or the main point. So again, these are examples, and these are examples of the purpose, okay? And then again, concluding, when we want to conclude. So these are things we can use when we conclude. All right, now, when we want to extend main points, these are some of the things we can use. So, and again, this is by purpose. So when we're going to use signal words and phrases, and so how we extend ideas. So for instance, we could offer reasons. So we can use these. The reason is because of, due to. There are others we can use as well. Next is citing an example. And these are the most common. So these are what you can use to give an example. And then discussing results. Discussing results. As a result, resulting to, leading, led to, consequently. Those are what you can do to kind of use when you want to discuss the results of something. Adding a condition. So maybe you have a condition where if something happens, then this occurs, then this happens. So if then statements, provided that, unless, and then if you want additional ideas, we can use these words and phrases. And so now let's talk about repetition, reducing repetition. Hello, Nancy, nice to see you. Okay, so when we want to reduce repetition, and the reason why, it's important to understand the reason why. Keyword, key nouns, the subjects of discussion are often repeated. I see sometimes especially in beginning, students who are intermediate to low level, they use the same noun repeatedly in sentence after sentence after sentence. And so that makes your essay uninteresting, and it's not natural writing. And you guys need to work on becoming natural writers, like natural speakers. Your speech is natural, your writing is natural. And so we reduce and one way to achieve that is to reduce repetition, okay? And so we achieve this by using the following devices. First of all, synonyms. Synonyms, okay? These are words that are similar in meaning. Next are personal pronouns. So these personal pronouns, so if we're referring to a man, we can say he, a thing, it. Demonstrative pronouns, those, these, this, that. So we want to use those. So now those are the devices we use. And sorry about that. I quickly moved over to the next slide, but now let's go back to the next slide. Okay, so now this is a poor paragraph where we have a lot of repetition, and especially repetition. So one of the things, if you notice, the word problem is used a lot. There's another thing here I notice is garbage is used. It's used twice in this. Pacific Ocean is another one. Waste, plastic waste. So these are things that are repeated. These are words and phrases that are repeated, and we can really reduce these, okay? We can really reduce these. And now let's take a look at how we can. Same paragraph, but rewritten with an attempt to reduce repetition. So here, what's in bold are the synonyms. I've also included signal words and phrases here, but the synonyms and pronouns, there's not really for it. So for instance, we start, you see, for instance, that's a signal phrase. A major issue is another signal phrase. It's also because it's also a kind of a synonym for a big problem. It's rather than say a big problem like we did in the previous one, it's a major issue. Then we have refuse. So basically it's a synonym of garbage. And then plastic waste, but I'm going to take care of plastic waste later, okay? Now, I forgot where it says it covers. I should have put that in bold, I'm sorry, but it is the personal pronoun for that references to the Pacific garbage patch. It covers, so that reduces the repetition of that. It directly refers back to the Pacific garbage patch. Now, the reason for its It's again is the personal pronoun that we want to use for it. It refers back. But the reason for is our signal phrase. Again, I use rubbish for allowing rubbish, which is another signal phrase for, a synonym for garbage. Then I say including plastics. So I don't say plastic waste, but plastics. So I can still say plastics. It's not a direct repetition of plastic waste, but it is synonymous. Then where it says slowly gather it, that it refers to the rubbish. And then in the middle of the Pacific. So in the middle of the Pacific is another way of just saying the Pacific Ocean, but I'm being more specific here. To deal with the issue is another signal phrase. And it should be, and where I say states, that makes a reference to nations rather than saying nations. Where I said nations, up above where it says because many nations are allowing rubbish, I use the word states. Again, that's synonymous. And again, the word it here refers back to the to garbage, rubbish, and such. Another example of international teamwork. This refers to international. This is another way of saying international cooperation. Another way of saying it could be multinational teamwork, for instance. But I chose international teamwork. And then finally, this is a good step. Good step is a signal phrase. It's highlighting these treaties. And shows. Again, highlighting the fact that these treaties show a commitment to resolving environmental problems. So this is a good, even though I haven't, and I apologize for highlighting all the linking devices here, you get a good idea of how to, especially how to avoid repetition. Okay, so now let's review. Now, again, scoring criteria for coherence and cohesion is 25% of your overall band scores. Coherence refers to structure and construction of your essay. We do this through paragraph arrangement, paragraph organization. That means organization, structure of the paragraph, ideas making logical sense, and you're following the flow of logic. Cohesion refers to how your ideas are held together. They uses enough linking devices, avoids repetitions, and the linking devices are used correctly. Okay, and then again, the linking devices, their purpose is to tell the reader what's going on, to extend main points, reduce repetition, and the types of linking devices are signal words and phrases, synonyms, personal pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, key points. You don't want to overuse them. You just want to use them when they're necessary. Okay, so you don't want to use them for every sentence. All right, so. And that's it. I want to thank you guys for watching this. Now, if you guys have any questions, now is the time to answer questions. So, ask questions. I answer the questions. Keep your questions to writing the essay only. But again, I really encourage you guys to watch all the videos I've done on the essay, planning the essay, planning your essay, how to understand the essay prompt, how to write your introduction, how to write your body paragraphs, how to write your conclusion, how to write each individual essay type. There's a video for each essay type. grammar for the essay, what not to say for the essay. Okay, so 3 months worth of videos here on YouTube, and I really encourage you guys to watch those, and also watch the one I did on speak. It's, again, it's for speaking, but it's signal words and phrases. And I really encourage you guys also to make a study of signal words and phrases online. You can find them online on many websites for free. And another thing you guys can do is study sample responses. Compare your writing to a sample essay, okay? You can find those online. We also have them here in My IELTS Tutor. Ask your tutor, if you're a student in My IELTS Tutor, ask your tutor to see some of those, okay? So you can get an idea. Now, 𝐂𝐎𝐿TS asked a question. How do I know I am writing relevant body paragraphs or relevant points? Okay, so you have to make sure this is a tough one. The key here is knowing that that's directly related to the topic, all right, to the idea. So the point has to be really directly related. So I'm trying to think of an idea here. Well, okay, so let's go back to our sample paragraphs. Okay, it was talking about international cooperation to solve environmental issues. So in that paragraph, you saw 2 relevant points. One was an example of an environmental issue that would best be resolved using international cooperation. And then the other example is those 2 treaties that show how different nations have come together to help resolve international environmental issues. So you have to think of things that are directly related to the topic. So if I were to say something like, local litter laws, if I start talking about local litter laws, that's related, but it's not directly related because it's not talking about international cooperation. It's just talking about solving environmental issues on a local level. Okay, I hope that helps, 𝐂𝐿TS. Sorry, I hope that helps. Another thing is to look at those sample essays and see how those ideas, what ideas they're using. Okay, and don't be afraid to study them. You can find sample essays for free online. You just look for IELTS essay types, sample essays. You can find pages with lists of current essay topics that have come from current tests, and then you can find some of them have sample essays. So you can look at those and use those to help you guide, get a good idea of how to handle that essay. Okay. Oh, good. I'm glad you understood, 𝐂𝐿TS. Okay, so with that said, that's it for today. Join me next week. I'm probably going to start talking about general writing. Okay, task 1, general writing. Okay, that's the letter. All right, so that's it. I will see you next week. You guys take care. Have a great week. Bye.